We're talking to you today because we are facing a crisis that is killing far too many people: prescription drug and heroin abuse.
Each year, more than 46,000 people die from a drug overdose. That's more people than die from car accidents or from gun violence. And half of those 46,000 deaths are related to opioid abuse.
We thought the best approach would be to let you hear the truth, just the straight facts from people who have lived with the hard consequences of opioid abuse. You will see that those whose lives are taken over by drug addiction are often kids from stable homes with strong families, good people who had great childhoods, were given everything they wanted, and had everything going for them. But they took one wrong turn and they were hooked. And once you're hooked, it is so very hard to get off these drugs, and the spiral down is so quick.
After you watch this film, we want you to talk about it. We want you to talk to your parents, to your relatives, to your friends, to your brothers and sisters. If you know somebody who's using drugs or even thinking about using drugs, say something.
You're going to see that once the addiction starts, it is often too late. By telling somebody, you could be saving a life.
I didn't care. I didn't think about it. I just did it. Once we started getting high, it was done.
She was 17 years old, and the only way I knew about it is because she was arrested.
Started smoking pot around 18, and I was always offered prescription drugs, and I never would take them. Then I was in a car accident.
It started for me with pot and just progressed into hell, basically.
Weed didn't do it for me, but definitely weed started it all for me.
It was definitely something I didn't see until it was too late. I had no clue what I was getting myself into, so.
Started taking 3 at a time, and then I was taking 4 at a time, and then I started taking
I became addicted that day.
When you're getting high, it's not just a drug.
You're hooked.
$500 going
And she was a convicted felon at the age of 18.
Turned to prostitution.
Stealing from my family.
It'll take you to hell and back.
It's not just a little pill.
Takes control of you.
I started using heroin.
The same heroin that just killed me.
You can't go back and say I'm
And
sorry.
it will win.
It will get you.
Her sister found her.
Died in her sleep.
My daughter.
She was dead.
Being addicted to opiates is like chasing a dragon. You're constantly seeking that first high. But what's gonna happen if you actually catch it?
Come from a great family, you know, always had what I wanted. Never had a curfew. I could sleep over at my friend's house whenever. I could have done anything. They would have paid for me to go to any kind of school, stuff like that, and they paid for guitar lessons.
I grew up with my dad. My mom wasn't in my life, though. He pretty much was mom and dad throughout the whole life. He would tutor me for at least an hour. On the weekends, we'd go out, we'd go camping, we'd go out on the boats. We always had something planned.
She started in gymnastics when she was like a toddler, and she was a cheerleader through middle schools, high schools, and she was also a competitive cheerleader. She started competing probably in 7th grade. She was a very good student. She was in AP classes, AP honor roll.
I had a great childhood, great family. We did a lot of camping, a lot of fun stuff, going to the beach, camping at the beach. Very active in scouting, Boy Scouts, and something my father, me and him did together, you know. A couple days before my 18th birthday, I actually got my Eagle Scout, which was a big accomplishment for me.
A friend offers you something at a party or at home, or you're having a bad day and you need something to pick you up, so somebody hands you a pill and says, here, this'll help you feel better.
I was at a concert, and I was 15 at the time, and I was drinking a beer. So I got a possession of alcohol charge. I got put on probation, so then I couldn't smoke pot anymore. So I started to panic, and then somebody approached me and said, well, here, try this, and it was Oxycontin 80.
I think the new friends had a really, really big impact on, you know, when she got to that fork in the road, you go left or you go right, and I think at that point, the friends helped pick the road that she chose. This sounds really appealing. I'm gonna try that. But I guess what most people and most kids don't understand is, you know, when you try something, you're not trying it. It's your new path.
I never hesitate to ask them all which drugs they've tried. And they'll typically say, I've started off with marijuana, I've tried oxycodone.
I feel like it took my mind over and made me do things that I, you know, normally brought up not to do, you know? And it just turned me into a monster.
My friends in the beginning were the friends that didn't do anything, and then I met the crowd that did do stuff. You are who you hang out with. That is for sure.
Nobody sets out thinking that they're going to end up being a needle user, but every one of those needle users will tell you that they couldn't get the high anymore doing it the way they were doing.
There's no way to say no with the opiates. It's hard.
The progression of addiction and the behavior that comes with it is pretty standard, regardless of where you're born, how much money you have, how old you are, what your race is, what your nationality is. You can be the smartest person in the world. The minute that chemical hits your bloodstream, you lose control of what it does in your body. You can't control it. Nobody can control it. I don't care who you are. It's not controllable.
You know, it's kind of stupid if you think about it, because I'm wasting all this money stealing from my family and my friends just to do a drug and fall asleep, you know? And then I wake up sick, so I'm like, well, crap, now I gotta do it all over again, you know? You're still chasing that first high.
How do you know you're an addict? It's when you're doing something that you know is not good for you, that's harming you, but you can't help yourself. When your relationships are starting to fall apart around you, and you don't care, and the only thing that's on your mind is about how to get the substance and how to get to the next high, you're an addict. You can't maintain an opiate addiction and a normal life for very long.
She stole checks from her grandmother and signed them. She stole my debit card. If it wasn't nailed down, it was in the pawn shop. She spent $800 a week. My daughter, who had, you know, everything handed to her, you know, could have gone anywhere in the world, very book smart, you know, very motivated, worked at a strip club. My little girl degraded herself just to get that.
Women turn to prostitution, which I've done myself. Guys will steal. They'll rob you right in front of you.
You're gonna get caught eventually, so I just didn't think it was gonna be me. I would just think, you know, they must have screwed over the wrong person, you know, they got caught because they weren't careful enough.
She was pulled over. I searched the car, and she had a quantity of pills. At that point, she was smoking them, so there was some type of a pipe device in them, so she was arrested. And she was a convicted felon at the age of 18.
Chemically, there's very little difference between oxycodone and heroin. It's just that one comes in a prescription bottle and another one comes in a plastic bag.
A lot of my friends were trying heroin, you know, to get the same high from the Oxycontin, and it was cheaper, and so of course I got into it, and it just grabbed me, you know.
I can tell you this, that I think she was able to access heroin, more heroin, easily than the pills. When she was using one or using the other, she was the same horrible, difficult person.
Withdrawal for the individuals that are taking the heroin that's available now looks like extraordinary physical, muscular pain. And very few people can actually manage it.
You feel like you just want to die when you're going through that. At that point, you're willing to do anything to get that next high so you can just feel normal.
I mean, I remember her in her room crying and just busting her room up, screaming to me, just get me a little. Just get me a little so I can stop.
It's just something that I never ever want to experience again. It is the worst feeling ever. And I wouldn't even, I wouldn't wish that feeling upon my worst enemy. That's how bad it is.
She was 7 months clean, eating healthy, getting her rest, no drugs. She asked to go to the store, and she came home, said, oh, you know, Mom, I'm sorry I was late. And she went upstairs, and it was maybe 40 minutes. I was cooking dinner. Dinner was done. And I'm hollering for the kids. Sierra didn't come down. I think she fell asleep or something. So I go upstairs and knocking and knocking and knocking on the doors, no answer. I open that door, and my little girl is on the floor dead. And I remember when I pushed on her chest, I heard that last breath. I heard the... I was in my kitchen cooking dinner, and that happened 17 steps up, and I had no idea that when she left this house, that was gonna happen. And I spend my Sundays looking at a gray headstone in a patch of grass. I will be spending my Christmases there, her birthdays there, all my holidays. Because she took that wrong turn.
It's something I want to deal with for the rest of my life. You know, to be honest, I actually just relapsed about a month ago and used for about a month, and I have a week. I had a week clean on Wednesday, and you know that's something that just shows how powerful this disease is. I'm just gonna try my best to stick with it, because I know it will kill me, and you know, just something I gotta work at every day. It'll take you to hell and back, and if you're lucky, you know, you'll make it back, you know. It's just not worth it at all, you know. If I could go back, if I knew what I knew now about this, and if I could go back, I would do it all different, and I wouldn't touch it.